بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على عبده ورسوله نبينا وإمامنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. Today, inshallah, we have questions from this week and from last week. And with the help and permission of Allah Azza wa Jal, we'll get started with the first one. It says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sheikh, Bidnillahi ta'ala, you are well. In one of your Q&A videos, you was speaking about an ayah from Surah An-Nisa 94. Not to say to one who greets you by embracing Islam that they aren't believers, seeking the goods of this dunya because you were one day like this. Paraphrasing the ayah. Can you please explain this, because I find it a little difficult to understand. You said Allah is most forgiving, most merciful. Is this general or specific? Does it mean that you shouldn't put up with the bad things people do because you yourself were once upon a time misguidance and error? Jazakallahu khairan wa barakallahu feek. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh wa feek barakallah. May Allah Azza wa Jal accept your good efforts. It's a yes and a no answer. You don't keep silent upon the clear falsehood and refrain from enjoining the good and forbidding the evil just because you used to do it. Rather, if you do that, then you'll gain two sins. You'll gain a double sin, as we explained from the kalam of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. Not just a person who used to do bad deeds, but one who's actually doing them. One who's actually doing them. So you get the sin for doing the bad deed, and you also get a sin for enjoining the good and forbidding the evil. So it doesn't necessarily mean that absolutely. However, the ayah does teach us in general that you have to be mindful of what you used to be like and how people were patient with you and kind with you. So this goes to show us more of the etiquette of enjoining the good and forbidding the evil. Don't rip someone's head off, because just yesterday that was you. And the people didn't try to rip your head off. They turned the blind eye from time to time. They didn't keep harassing you. They gave you patience to develop and to grow and to mature into the piety with the advice, with the teaching, with the discipline, etc., etc. So that's what's meant. Also, the concept of having mercy upon people and feeling pity for people, having sympathy for people, sitting back and feeling sorry for somebody. Like, that used to be me. I can relate to that. I know what it's like to be caught up in a haram relationship in which you know it's haram, you feel it's haram, but at the same time you love the person or you're attracted to it. Whatever the case is, you know what it's like. So you can relate to that person and speak to that person and talk to them in a necessary manner. And you know how it felt when everybody was talking about you and walking past you and snickering and sneering at you and gossiping about you. And you know how it felt when that one sister was kind enough and courageous enough to come up to you and give you advice and put her hand on your shoulder and tell you what you needed to be told. This is something which is very important for us always to reflect how we used to be. Or even if it's not a sin. When it comes to teaching someone, did you always know everything? Were you always fluent? It was a time in which you were being taught Alif Ba Ta and people were patient with you. So oftentimes the human being, he does things to other human beings, or he behaves because he himself forgets that he's a human being. Or he forgets how it feels to be on the other side, on the other end. Or he forgets what he used to be like in his past. And that's why we always need to be reminded. And Allah knows best. Question 2. Assalamu alaikum muallim, Allah yahfadak. If you miss witr and tahajjud, then you make it up in the morning. Do you perform it exactly how you would in the night, i.e. recite it aloud and lengthily? Also, can you still make dua kunut? Barakallahu feek. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh wa feek barakallah. Jazakallahu khairan. Bidnillahi ta'ala, if you miss it and it's past the time of Fajr, it's now the daytime, you know there's a certain point, a period of time which you can't pray until the sun has risen for a good 15 to 20 minutes afterwards. So the ulama of Islam, some of them say that you make up the witr just like you will make it at nighttime. And others, they say rather you should make it like how the daytime prayers are to be made. by adding one to it. So if you made one rak'ah of witr at night, then you make two. Meaning you add one to one equals two, an even number. If you were making three at night, then add one and make four. Wahakadha. And do it how the daytime prayer is to be done, silently, etc. There's room in the issue. There's room in the issue, and the ulama have different views on all of these different points. There's room on the issue. That's in brief. And Allah knows best. Question 3. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, can this question be sent to the Sheikh? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Sheikh, may Allah bless you and your family with good in this world and the hereafter, and protect you and your family from all evils in this world and the hereafter. My question is, can you please explain to me the ayah in Al-Baqarah 197 about the Hajj is in the well-known lunar year months, the 10th month, the 11th month, and the first 10 days of the 12th month of the Islamic calendar. Do this actually mean the Hajj can be performed in those other months, and it is not just specifically for the 12th month? Jazakallahu khairan for taking the time out to address this question for me. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. May Allah bless you and reward you as well. The ayah is simple and clear. There are 3 months for Hajj: the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th, as you just mentioned. Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, and Dhul Hijjah. Those are months for Hajj. But Hajj is of different types of Hajj. You may start the Hajj in Shawwal, but you don't actually perform the quote-unquote Hajj until Dhul Hijjah. The Tawaf and the things that you do, Arafah and Muzdalifah, the Jamarat. But you actually commence your Hajj in Shawwal. And that's when there's different Hajj packages. You have Tamattu', you have Qiran, you have Ifrad. There's different styles of making Hajj. So there's one style of Hajj in which you start in Shawwal, you come out of your Ihram, when Dhul Hijjah comes, you go back into it. There's one style in which you make Umrah and you stay in Ihram until the time comes in Dhul Hijjah. Wahakadha. So that's what's meant by that the months of Hajj are those 3, and there's different styles and ways of performing Hajj. Khairan, inshallah. Question 4. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope you're well. May Allah bless you and your family. Is there any truth to the thought process that if you join the salat late to the point of missing 1 or more rakats, you don't need a sutra to continue the salat on your own because the Imam's sutra continues to be your sutra? Or should you adjust yourself, your surroundings, to ensure that you have a sutra for the missed rakats you are now making up? Jazakumullahu khairan. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. May Allah bless you and your family in this life and the next. Ameen. Once the Imam salams out, you are no longer attached to the Imam. He is no longer responsible for you. You are no longer allowed to follow him. The sutra that he had, that was once your sutra, is no longer your sutra. So once he salams out, you stand up, you finish your rak'at. If you have the ability to take a couple steps forward, or if you took a step to the right or to the left, etc., or you took off your book bag, or you put your book bag in front of you, whatever you use as a sutra, that is what you should do. And the Imam's sutra is no longer your sutra. You have nothing to do with the Imam. Khalas, you are totally divorced from the Imam. You're not with him at all. He has done his prayer, he salamed out. You are now the Imam of yourself. Nothing that the Imam is doing or did is now pertaining to you. It's over, finished. Okay? So please, inshallah, ta'ala, go back to the playlist that we have on Hadith Disciple channel with regards to the rulings of the sutra. Jazakumullahu khairan for the very important question. Question 5. It's Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mufti, may Allah bless you and your family with ease in this life and the next. Ameen. I wanted to ask you if you would ever give ijazah if we ever mastered a topic or book. Jazakallahu khairan. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Only my Lord knows what will take place in the future. For me to give something would mean I would have to have it myself. What's important is that you study a book and that you master it and you finish it, and that's the most important ijazah to have. As far as a piece of paper or a certificate, some type of certification, some type of license, of course, we're human beings. It feels good, it looks good, it helps you become official and major. I actually have documentation. I actually studied something systematically. I actually have some type of degree, some type of ijazah or ijazat. But that's tayyib. But the main purpose is the ijazah of actually learning and benefiting and studying the book with the teacher and passing it on to others, etc. That's the main point. That's the main point. So there's nothing wrong with the ijazah, all right? There's nothing wrong with that. However, the greatest ijazah is the ijazah of the actual content. And many people, they get caught up with the ijazah this, ijazah that, just like people get caught up with this degree and this paper and this and this and that. And they oftentimes forget or lose focus on the main and most important concept, and that is the actual benefit from the knowledge and the carrying on of the knowledge to others, huh? So, only Allah knows what the future holds, bidnillahi ta'ala. Let's see. Question 6. Assalamu alaikum. Hayyak Allah mu'allimi. When Allah speaks about his rizq, is this specific to wealth, or can it be interpreted to mean the knowledge that you receive also, i.e. memorizing Quran, classes you attend, etc.? Barakallahu feek. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Allah yuhayyikum wa Allah yuhayyikun. Then the rizq of Allah is general. From Allah's rizq is the actual material possessions, legal tender, gold nuggets, or silver shillings, gold guineas. That's from the things that Allah Azza wa Jalla gives His slaves as sustenance. But under any circumstances, that the only thing. Allah gives rizq of good character. Allah gives rizq of piety and righteousness, iman, the greatest rizq. The rizq of knowledge, of ilm. وهكذا. And Allah knows best. Wa alaikum assalamu alaikum. Is it incorrect? Is it incorrect for someone to say that you can't control shaitan, but he can control you? Jazakallahu khairan. Mubarakallahu feek. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Laki bil mithil. I mean, I would say no and yes. No and yes. The shaitan can't control you. You can't control the shaitan. From one aspect, Allah clearly mentions this in the Quran, in Surah Ibrahim, on that verse, or those verses which are known as the khutbah of shaitan, Waliyadu billah, the sermon that Satan will give, and he will address the people of the fire, and he'll tell them that وَمَا كَانَ لِي عَلَيْكُم مِّن سُلْطَانٍ إِلَّا أَن دَعَوْتُكُم. He says, I had no sultan, no power over you, no authority over you, except that I called you. That was it. My call. And you answered me. So from that aspect, shaitan doesn't control you. And also the concept of the shaitan is in the outside world. He's in the ilm al-ghayb. You can't control him. You can't do nothing to him. You can't dominate him. He doesn't even live in your world. As far as that khutbah and the benefits that pertain to the khutbah, you can go back to the khutbah that we did on a topic called the blighted pulpit. The blighted pulpit, in which we spoke on this, the pulpit of fire. Right. As far as the yes part, then from one aspect, the shaitan controls you, quote unquote controls you. Quote unquote controls you, meaning the shaitan comes from his world to your world. As we've explained in our series in Ottawa, Canada, with regards to the world of the unseen, the world of the shayateen, and the world of the jinn and the angels and things like this. That they have some type of advantage, whereas they cross over. Okay? And the human being doesn't necessarily cross over into their world except with the allowance of the shayateen. So from one aspect, the shaitan can wreak havoc on the son of Adam, whisper, make things seem fair to him, take the shape of creatures, take the shape of women, etc., etc. So that is a quote-unquote type of control, but it's not actual control. And the concept of it being a yes for the human, you control shaitan, meaning you can read the Quran, protect yourself with adhkar. You can beat him down and stifle him and push him away and banish him from yourself, from your home, from your children, etc. But in actuality, there's no actual control. He doesn't control you and you don't control him. And Allah Azza wa Jalla surely knows best. Next question. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah. You're in a bet, supposed to be best of health and iman. Is it permissible to teach children to draw a face or body with basic things like circle, dot, and lines just for educational purposes? Is this considered image making? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. And you as well. Best health and best iman. Some of the ulama say that there are certain allowances with regards to the rulings of taswir pertaining to education, pertaining to necessity, pertaining to a need, and also certain rulings that are specific to young children. Certain rulings that are specific to young children. So we have education, we have young children, and we have certain necessities, whether it be passports or criminal identification or things like this. Okay? So therefore, perhaps this issue can fall under one of those points. All right, if you want to teach your child some basic things, then that's one thing. But teach them from a young age not to draw faces, not to connect necks with the shoulder and the head, to draw a general oval or general square or circle representing the head. All right, draw a mustache on the face and the nose representing that it has some type, and not the eyes, vivid eyes and things like this, Fill out to the best of your ability. The child has to learn certain things, needs to know certain things, but doesn't have the ability to do that which is prohibited in the sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Tayyib, please go back to our video that we did discussing the details of a taswir, many beneficial points and details, the principles that you will not find in another lecture or maybe not even in another book. And Allah Azza wa Jal surely knows best. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Question 9. May Allah continue to grant you and your family khair for this life and the next. Ameen. Can a person paraphrase the statement said by the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, or does it have to be word for word? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. It is permissible to summarize a hadith. It is permissible to take one sentence from a hadith. It is permissible to paraphrase the hadith. Okay, the Prophet told us, you'll get what you want. You'll get what your intention is. The Prophet told us the most important thing in one's deeds is how you feel in your heart. That's paraphrased in the hadith. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّةِ. Deeds are only based off of intention. All right. So translating the hadith into English, paraphrasing it or summarizing it, or just taking one section from a long hadith, is permissible with the condition that the meaning remain intact. It's permissible that the meaning remain intact, and that you don't misquote the Prophet and say something about the Prophet through your words that he did not say, and which you change the meaning and distort the meaning and pervert the meaning. As long as those things are fulfilled, then it's permissible for one to summarize, for one to paraphrase, and for one to slice and sample from a hadith and not mention the entire thing. That's permissible. And Allah knows best. Question 10. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mufti, may Allah grant you and your loved ones with good in this dunya and akhirah. I mean, I had this experience the other day, where right before Fajr I was really tired, and even though the whole night I was up and not tired, and right after I made Fajr Salah, I went back to normal of not being tired. Is this a trick of shaitan to make us be neglectful of our salats? Jazakallahu khairan. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. The same dua is the dua that I make for you and your family and your loved ones. May Allah Azza wa Jalla bless you all and guide you all and keep you all firm. It could be. I don't know. I don't know who the questioner is. I don't know you. What's your lifestyle like? I don't know what level of practice you're upon. Is the shaitan involved with you all of the time? Or are you someone who fights against the shaitan? La adi. I don't know. Okay? I don't know this. What's important is that it could be or could be not. Maybe you just were really tired, exhausted, dehydrated because of the heat. You need to drink more water. Allahu alam. Maybe you need to have more concentration, more focus. Maybe your household is not protected. It could be many things. At the end of the day, the shaitan is not going to slacken at the least of harming us and annoying us and distracting us and pushing us away from the dhikr of Allah. There's no question about that. The Quran clearly states that the shaitan is an open enemy for us, and we should take him as an open enemy. So there's no difference of opinion about the fact he's going to do whatever he can. However, the human being is also a human being, and there are certain times which a person may be exhausted or tired, and the list goes on. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. What's important is that you make yourself accustomed to doing khair. You make yourself accustomed to doing good, to doing righteousness, Wallahu ta'ala alam. Question 11. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, you are in the best of health and iman. I am wondering, what is your view on women driving in Saudi? How should we as Muslims react to this? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. It's a very interesting question that has several different aspects in it. First and foremost is, regardless of what the people are doing in Saudi Arabia, you always have to be given the maximum amount of your energy and attention and focus to your own country. And we said this, I think last summer, and many people became upset and disturbed, and it ruffled their feathers, okay? These turkeys, all right, and these fowls, their feathers got roughed up. Oh, he said that you shouldn't be worried about this sheikh. The sheikh is not gonna care. He's not going to lose his sleep. He's not going to stop eating and drinking his dates and his tea. Oh, and they became really, really upset at me making this statement. And I don't believe that anything was wrong with the statement. And if I did believe that something was wrong with the statement, then wallahi, I would take it back and I would retract it. And I would make an open repentance if I believed that that statement was wrong. Not because of this person or this one or this sheikh or this one or this brother. No, I would do it for myself. But I don't believe that that statement was wrong. And I believe that statement was accurate. And I believe that statement was necessary to be said in the manner in which I said it. The manner in which I said it was necessary, if not more. If not more. Okay? And I believe that many people, and this is nothing about boasting or bragging, but it's the truth. The truth is to be said. If many people had the courage and the guts to speak up and say what they really feel and believe, our communities would be much, much better. There's no disrespect to no scholar or to Saudi Arabia. There's no disrespect to no person. But it is a reality check. Dude, your life is not in Saudi Arabia. Your life is in Bed-Stuy, New York. Your life is in Germantown, West Philadelphia, North Philadelphia. That's where you live. There is no Muslim government, Muslim scholars, Muslim courthouse. You live among the kuffar, the mushrikeen, the munafiqeen, Sikhs and Hindus and pagans and people with tattoos and drinking and smoking and fornicating and killing and robbing and murdering. That's where you live. Do not forget that. You can put on a white ghutra and a red checkered scarf and a black niqab, and you can think that you're living in some dream world, but the bottom line is you're American. You live in America, and you have to focus on your country and the benefit of your country and the betterment of your country before anyone else. Just like Saudi Arabia, the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, no matter what they give to Muslims and what they donate and what scholarships they give, their first concern and their last concern is Saudi Arabia and the benefit of the citizens of Saudi Arabia. And if you don't know that, or you don't believe that, then live in Saudi Arabia and mingle with the people, read their newspapers, listen to their news broadcasts, watch the interviews. They're going to talk about their country and what's a benefit for their country first and foremost. Then comes the other Gulf countries, this country, those Muslims, these Hajis, these poor people. But first and foremost, it's Saudi. They take care of their own first. With regards to Islamic rulings, with regards to money and investments and this and that. If you don't believe that, then you're living in a dream world. A dream world. And if you think that this person, whoever he is, whether it's a scholar, a person, whoever they are, if you think that they're losing sleep and they're going bald out of stress because of the major issues you have in your country, you're also living in a dream world. You're also living in a dream world. And oftentimes people, they attack someone who wakes them out of their slumber. They attack the person who has enough heart to speak and say what's hurtful and painful. And people are temporarily numbed from their day-to-day horrors because of these fantasies, things being sensationalized for them. Do you actually think that and believe that this sheikh or these sheikhs, they actually are going to suffer from your suffering? Do you think that? Are you that stupid? Are you that sleep? Are you snoring that much to think that? I don't understand. How does someone even look at that in a different light? You got to focus on your own country. Whether they drive in Saudi Arabia or not, that ain't got nothing to do with America. If women can drive in Saudi, that's not going to change anything in America. You got to pay car insurance. You got to have a driver's ID. When that police officer, the state trooper, pulls you over, license registration, and he takes his mag flashlight and he taps it on your door and he makes you roll down the window and he puts that bright light in your face and you're driving with your kids asleep in the car. has nothing to do with Saudi Arabia. If the police officer shoots somebody, that has nothing to do with Saudi Arabia. What does Saudi Arabia do with anything that happens with regards to people driving in America? And vice versa. So for a person to be aware, for a person to understand certain basic things, and to know what's going on in the world today, to care about the Muslims, for a person to benefit from the scholars overseas, and that's alhamdulillah. No one has ever been against that, as we clarified and explained. I myself benefited from Saudi Arabia. But you got to focus on your own country. You have to focus on your own state of affairs. Okay? And stop living in this fantasized dream world and thinking that everything overseas is a perfect utopia of Islam, because it ain't. It's not. They don't claim that it is themselves. So why would you? Your grandmother is a kafir. Your baby's father is a kafir. Your neighbor is a kafir. You have to work. You have to do all these things to pay bills, to make ends meet, and so on and so forth. The people have to beg for money in the masjid, to put an air conditioner in the masjid, to put new carpet in the masjid, to put new windows in the masjid. Are you dreaming? Are you stupid? How concerned are they with your basic affairs? And it's not their responsibility. It's not their job. It's not the job of the scholar to lose sleep because of everything that's going on. That's not his job. His job is to teach and to educate. His job is to send his students. That's his job. So I don't think anything was wrong with that statement and how it came out. I think it was a reality check that many people need. And many people, they're duped and they're tricked, and they think that this sheikh is going to come out of the heavens on an escalator made out of pearls and save us from our perils in the inner city. And that's not reality. And the proof that that's not reality is just look for the last 20, 25 years. The people who've been saying this and pumping this and promoting this and this sheikh and this scholar and this one and that one, what has changed in your community? What betterment has happened in your community that's tangible, felt on the ground? You have some classes, you have some information, so on and so forth. But what is different? Crackhead is still on the corner. The person is the liquor store is still there. The church is 5 churches still on each block. It ain't gonna change unless you change it yourself. Unless you try to make some type of effort to change it through beneficial knowledge and righteous action and dawah and standing up for the haqq. So don't be tricked with busying yourself with somebody that does not busy themselves with your personal problems. And that does not mean that no scholars give talks and classes and write books. That does not mean that they won't address certain issues. That doesn't mean that there's no ilm online telelink. That doesn't mean that you can't make a hajj, that you can't go over there and study and sit and ask some questions. It doesn't mean that, and we never said that. It doesn't mean that linguistically, nor is it interpretation. It doesn't mean that. But it means you got to focus on yourself. And Saudi Arabia has its own list of policies, political, economical, social, religious, and the list goes on. And you need to have your own. You need to have your own. And that's all I want to say on that. So if women drive or not, that ain't going to change the need for sisters to drive in America. You have 5 children. Your husband works 2 jobs. You have to go to the masjid, the summer camp, the supermarket, the pharmacy. So everything you have to buy your kids, shoes and sneakers. What are you going to do? Get on a train? How many men are on a train? How many people are going to look at you and make funny face at you? Or a man try to grope you or grab you on a train. You can get in a taxi cab. It's just you in a cafe by yourself now. Then what? This makes no sense. It's pure stupidity. So what is the proof that women can't drive from Quran and Sunnah and Ijma'? If a scholar in Saudi Arabia has the ijtihad and that's his view, that's his view. He's a qualified scholar to make that ruling. But that doesn't mean that things are parallel and equal and the same in America. It doesn't mean that. Okay? It doesn't mean that. And there are many things that people read theoretically or hypothetically, but they are unwilling and incapable to implement on a physical, tangible, day-to-day lesson. So we have to be mindful of this. Certain things are the same in Saudi and America as far as the ruling. And there are certain things which are different and vary from person to person. So we have to be very careful when we quote, when we translate, when we bring something. And just ask yourself the question, how many specific social ills and problems we face here in America, which are norms in Saudi Arabia, or vice versa. Or vice versa. And it's very sad they have people who attack people and slander people and say all types of things about people, and they don't even realize the reality of what's going on. Let's take, for example, racism and prejudice, colorism, things like this. This is normal stuff in Saudi Arabia for somebody to get a job because he's light-skinned and the one who's darker don't get the job. That's normal. That's nothing out of the ordinary. There is no who has the most ability. They're both from India. He's black, he's light. He gets the job, he's a worker on the street. That's normal. Colorism is normal. It's normal for you to go to the supermarket and you're standing in line with your wife and your children, and then a Saudi man comes with his wife and cut right in front of you. And then look at you like, how dare you get upset and say something? You're my servant. That's normal. But it would never ever happen in America. You smack the mess out of somebody trying to cut in front of you in line. Disrespect. You would never take that because there was a civil rights movement in America. There was never no civil rights movement overseas in Saudi Arabia. There were slaves. Most of them, if not, or a large amount of them, came from Africa up until the 60s. It was slavery overseas in 1959, 1960. Stop and look at this now. In America, this is the beginning of the civil rights movement, the 60s. In Saudi Arabia and other countries, Yemen, there were slaves, legal slaves. We're not getting into the ruling of slavery in Islam. We're not talking about that. We're talking about something social now and political. America, people were fighting, being hit in the head with clubs, dogs biting them, having water blasted on them, women being raped, people being hung from trees in the 60s to fight for their basic rights. And overseas, they still were slaves. And the color of your skin, and the country where you came from, and so on and so forth. So how can you say that it isn't a problem and it isn't an issue? And how can you go for guidance from a social aspect to someone who comes from that culture? How is it even possible? How can you even, they can't even begin to relate because that's their culture. The Islamic ruling on slavery, on racism, colorism, that's a different story. But we're talking about the social the practicality of the issue. You have to deal with that situation right here. And the same applies over there. We cannot begin to imagine some of the problems that they have because it's not from our culture. It's not from our society to do things like this. We do things totally different. We cannot begin to relate to how they do things. You live overseas for some time and you experience this. You're in line, you're at the bank, you're frustrated, you want to talk to the manager, and you're blowing gaskets. Like, what is this? And to him, it's normal. And the guy who's overseas, he says, calm down. You'll speak to him, he'll come, you talk to this one, this is the in-between, and khalas. Because that's how they do things over there. That's their society, that's their culture. And they've been doing that for years. And it's not like that in America. So there are things that are different here and things that are different there. So it's a capital mistake to mix everything and put it in one pot and say it's all the same. That is the pinnacle of stupidity, to say that and to do that. And those who do it and they know this, they're evil. I'll say this openly without no fear, they're evil. Whether they're scholars, students, du'ats, they're evil. And they do this to trick the people and to mislead the people and to control the people and to keep them stifled with ignorance. And those who do it mistakenly, they're just followers. They don't know any better. They're simple-minded people. They're blindly following the next man. They're just a tape recorder, passing on what they hear and what they think is the truth. But it has nothing to do with the truth. This is the reality. And the few people who will speak up, they're going to be talked about and slandered and spoken against. And a slew of names are going to be hurled at them because people, they're not ready for certain change. It's unfortunate and that's sad. So whether women drive in Saudi Arabia or not has nothing to do with women driving in America unless you're following the Islamic ruling and you believe in your heart that this mufti's fatwa is the truth and that a woman cannot drive because she may get into a car accident and her niqab can fly off, or she can travel by herself and she doesn't need a mahram to travel, and men can see her fingertips while she's driving and her eyelids while she's driving, and or some people, they may say it will mess up her ovaries, she won't be able to get pregnant because she drives. Whatever ruling, if that's what you believe is the haqq, then that's what you believe is the haqq. But we're talking about social issues and social reasons behind women not driving in Saudi Arabia. That has nothing to do with America. Has nothing to do with America, all right? So we have to be mindful of this and there are many, many other issues like this in which people, they mix and they jumble and they put things together. And the worst person of all is one who gets a little bit of knowledge, who speaks a little bit of Arabic, who went overseas for a little bit, and he comes back and thinks that he knows and thinks that he understands. And he shows hatred and enmity to those who really do know, who do understand. That's the worst of them all. May Allah help us all, and Allah knows best. Question 12. Can you pray 180 degrees of the Qibla? I believe we've mentioned this before. With regards to the Qibla in North America, is it north or is it southeast or northeast? That's a very long, extensive discussion in both the classical fiqh and the modern day science. With regards to what is mandatory, do you have to face the specific direction or is it just east? Okay, is the earth flat or round? 180 degrees, so on and so forth. All of this is a very long discussion. What's important is if you have the knowledge yourself of the Islamic fiqh, the traditional Islamic fiqh, and the modern day science and its application, then you follow what you feel is the right thing. If you don't have that knowledge, and it's a very brain warping discussion and research, then you need to follow those whom you deem to be trustworthy and pray northeast, and Allah knows best. Question 13. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. May Allah give you what is best. Ameen. High chances of severe genetic abnormalities increase when first cousins marry. How do we reconcile with Islam's allowance to marry cousins? Wa alaikum wassalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. May Allah give you what is best. Ameen. Just because something is allowed in Islam doesn't mean it's always encouraged. And it doesn't mean that it's something that you should abuse and do all of the time over and over and over and over and over again. That's first and foremost. Secondly, high chances of genetic abnormalities, it has to be something that's proven. Is it proven? Is it scientific fact? Or is it theory? Or in many cases? What's important is Islam. Is there a hadith that says marry your cousins over and over again? Keep marrying into your own cousins. Does it say that? And Allah knows best. The next question says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mufti, may Allah grant you barakah in your time with us. Ameen. I just want to remind you on the question some of the sisters had that you mentioned in last week's class. Which e-reader is best, a Nook or a Kindle? Where can we get personalized stamps for our books and how much? Jazakallah khairan. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Thank you very much for the reminder. I can't remember, and Allah knows best, if I said that we're going to give you everything right away. If I said that, then I'm bound by those words. And if I didn't say that, then I'm not necessarily bound by those words. What's important is that for me to get you interested and get you thinking, for you to smell the aroma of the food is more than enough as my job. I don't necessarily have to show you the food or serve it to you. But for me to get you thinking about the food and smelling the food, that in itself is a victory. So many of us don't even know about the concept of having a personal book stamp or the importance of having small books and notebooks and e-readers and things like this. So just me getting that in having your mind in that thought process, that's a forward step. And inshallah ta'ala, if there's enough time, we'll mention some more tips and some practical tips and give you some actual details on some of the tricks of the trade, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. In general, getting a personalized stamp, whether it's in Arabic, is not very expensive, but obviously you have to get them, shipped from overseas, unless you find someone that does it here in North America, which you may. As far as which e-reader is best, then perhaps within that title we'll make a specific session on that, and maybe also go over some of the different styles of notebooks, the dafatir, how to have notebooks, what notebooks to carry, what are good notebooks to have. Inshallah ta'ala. Barakallahu feek. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Shaykh. Question 15. Bi-idhnillah ta'ala, you're well. In one of your Q&A videos, alright, we mentioned that already. Tayyib says, when Allah speaks about His rizq, we did that. Khunut. Let's go back to the questions of this week, inshallah. It says here, question 18. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah protect you from all evil. Ameen. What is the ruling of a woman attending the janazah prayer in the masjid? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah bless you as well. A woman can pray in the masjid, and she can pray the janazah in the masjid. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong, no prohibition in the sunnah with regards to that. And Allah knows best. Question 19. May Allah elevate your status and take you as an intimate friend. Ameen. Is cupping from the sunnah, or it was an Arab way of curing oneself from illnesses? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. May Allah bless you and elevate your status as Ameen. Ameen. And make you beloved to Him. Cupping is a medicinal practice of the Arabs. It was something that the Prophet ﷺ acknowledged. It was something that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ did, and he allowed. Okay? As far as it being ibadah, actual worship, it be a means of worship, ibadah, then that's going to have to be something that is established and proven. There has to be an authentic text, which clearly proves is that this is not just medicinal, but this is actual sunnah, actual sunnah. So if there's an authentic hadith that proves that it's spiritual worship, then alhamdulillah. And if not, then it remains like many other aspects, not all, but many other aspects of al-tibb al-nabawi, Prophet's medicine, as something that is a medicinal practice of the Arabs, that it was Muhammad's culture, as we just explained. And if you want to do it, you can. If you don't, you don't. If you have another way of healing or treating something, if you come from China, alhamdulillah, as long as it's not against the Quran and Sunnah. If you come from West Africa or Central Africa, you come from the Congo, and this is what people do for migraines there. This is what a woman does when she can't get pregnant. This is what a man does to increase his sperm count. And this is the natural way of getting rid of this type of rash or this type of bone ache. La bas. As long as it doesn't go against the text of the Quran and the Sunnah. Certain things are generally shared among the Arabs, the Chinese, the Africans. And some things are specific from culture to culture, person to person. Let alone the fact that there are many things that the Arabs learned from non-Arabs. Whether it's the Greek, or the Greeks, or the Romans, or these people, or those people, the Egyptians, the people from the Horn of Africa, they traded. The people they traded, they sailed to these different countries. They traveled by caravan. There was marriage. There was concubinage. People they interbreeded, etc. They learned different things from different cultures. And then as time goes on, it became a staple thing in the Arab culture. But in actuality, the root of this type of medicine or this drink or this procedure comes from Greece, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years ago, or whack of that. Okay, so many things in the Prophet's medicine that are like that, and many things which clearly states it's barakah, it's from Allah. Allah sent it down. Allah loves it. That's a different story, and that is spirituality behind it as well. And Allah knows best. Question 20: what advice can you give to a husband who has been married for 18 years with a sis and are blessed with 5 beautiful children, but recently decided to take a second wife, which he did, alhamdulillah. However, if he decided to register the second marriage through the court system, mind you, he never did that with the first wife of marriage of 18 years. What should the first wife do in this situation? Jealousy is a natural human emotion, a natural human element, a natural human feeling, which is oftentimes felt in some people more than others. It's natural to be jealous. Why does she get an official marriage and I don't? Or you gave her a big walima and you gave me a simple walima. Allahu alam. Maybe when he married you, he didn't have the money. Maybe when he married you, he had a different understanding, a different level of Islam, a different practice of the deen. He thought he was following the way of the pious predecessors when he married you 18 years ago. But he discovered that he was actually following the way of a modern day scholar. And 18 years later, he actually learned the sunnah. Wahakada. So it may be an excuse. It may be a reason why. And if that isn't the case, I mean, maybe you can go get married now in the state. Allahu alam, register. What's important is that there's a virtue, and then there's justice. And if someone gives you something more or less, that doesn't mean that he's wronged you, as long as he doesn't wrong you. All right. So you have to look at the situation. Allah knows best what's the reason why. Only Allah knows. What's important is communicate with your husband and tell him how you feel. And there's nothing wrong with you feeling upset, even if it's not haram. You feel upset. I feel some type of way about it. That's messed up. That's mad shady. You took her to the courthouse, but you didn't. We got married in the back of a hole in the wall masjid. Maybe, but you have to pick your battles wisely. What do you want to argue and fight over? What's important to you? He provides for you. He loves you. He spends time with you. That's what's important. A piece of paper in City Hall means nothing. Allah knows best. Question 21. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh mu'allimi. Bidhnillahi ta'ala, you are in the best health and iman. I wanted to ask you, what is that you expect from us as students? What should we be doing to reap the benefits of all that you teach us? Barakallahu feek fi dunya wal akhirah. Jazakallahu khairan. First and foremost is what Allah expects from you. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expects from you. What Allah expects from you. Okay? So Allah Azza wa Jalla expects many things from you as His servant. Okay? As a seeker of knowledge, there are certain things that you must do that are responsibilities to Allah. And then after Allah Azza wa Jalla, there are certain responsibilities that you have to yourself. You owe it to yourself. And then there are certain responsibilities that your classmates have over you. The sisters in this class have over you. And they expect from you. Last but not least, me being at the bottom of the totem pole, the last one in the feeding chain or the order, is what I perhaps could possibly expect from you. So first and foremost, you have to be sincere to Allah, not seeking knowledge for fame, to be known, for it to be heard. I'm such and such student, or I study with such and such. Not for anything of the worldly life. If these things come, you get a repertoire or rapport from this, or you meet other sisters, or a brother wants to marry you because he hears about the class. Alhamdulillah. That's from Allah's bounty. That's from Allah's bounty. The Muslims fight jihad fi sabilillah to make Allah's word the highest in the land. And there are also spoils. And there's victory. And there are many things that come from that. But that's not the initial intention. So if that comes, then alhamdulillah. But initially it has to be sincere for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you have to seek knowledge to benefit yourself and to benefit your community. To benefit your family. To benefit the people that are around you. Bidnillahi ta'ala. As far as what you owe yourself to take it serious. Don't play around. This is real. Nothing about this is cosmetic or synthetic. This is reality. Be real with yourself. How far can you take it? What potential, what talent do you have? What ability do you have to raise the bar? Maybe not now, but in 5 years, 10 years. Okay? Things may change dramatically for sisters. Through this class, through what you do, through the efforts that you put forth. Brothers may be afraid to teach sisters in the future. Not only sisters can teach them. They have ilm. No more chauvinistic. No more not knowing the proper understanding. You don't know what can happen. People are forced to respect sisters now and give sisters the respect they have for ilm. You don't know unless you put everything into it. Or the rights that your sisters have over you and what they expect, that you'll be a good sister to them. Don't backbite them. Don't gossip them. Don't make fitna with them. Don't be harsh on them and mean to them. All right? Don't talk about them. Don't belittle them. Help them out. Everyone help each other. Everyone respect each other. Everyone be kind to each other. Make review. Well, how could that? Spread knowledge, pass on information, and make the class even better. As a whole, as a team. All right? Okay? On a submarine, the captain of the submarine is nothing without the crew. He can't do everything. He can't be in every place and every time. He can't steer the ship and fire the torpedoes and do everything. He can't do that. He has to have the crew. The crew, the team around him is what makes him good, and vice versa. Without the captain, the crew is nothing. Without the crew, the captain is nothing. Last but not least, what your teacher expects from you. First and foremost is that you take it serious and that you respect it. And that you have good character and good akhlaq. And you respect knowledge and respect your teacher. And stay far away from anything of statement or writing or any type of behavior which could be possibly understood as disrespectful. Which could be possibly understood as a lack of respect. And it's one of the first lessons you learn teaching knowledge is respect and humility. And this is one of the biggest things that we're missing in many places and parts of the world, but especially in North America and on the East Coast. We don't have respect. People, they say they respect knowledge, they don't respect knowledge. They only respect personalities. I'll call him a sheikh, and I'll call you brother, or I'll call you by your first name. People have the audacity to do things like this. They come up to you, they want to ask you a question, take your time and says, yeah, Muhammad. Oh, Muhammad. Say, Muhammad. You don't have to call me king. I'm not no superior king to you, but have some basic respect. And if it was someone of a different ethnicity, or if someone was older than you, or anyone else, you would never call them by their first name. You would never address them like that. Let alone the fact that there's an issue of jealousy. I'm not going to call him Mufti because he's not a Mufti. He's no Mufti. His name is Muhammad. His mother named him Muhammad. That's what they say. But then have the audacity to ask you questions and to beg your time and ask you the most simplistic, simple-minded questions that a child should know. And take your time. But they don't have the basic respect. I'm not talking about no one in the class. I'm not talking about no sisters in the class. I'm talking about brothers. I'm just making an example of a great manifestation of how we don't understand is that we don't have respect for people. We don't have respect for the people that we take from. We say something sarcastic to them, correct them, this and that. We don't have the proper respect. So this is a basic principle, not just for me, but for any class that you join, is to have respect for the teacher. And not just respect, but the utmost respect. The utmost respect. And it's not about the person, but it's about the knowledge and the virtue that this person has over you. This sister is your teacher. She's taught you things that she didn't have to teach you. And there's nothing that you can do to make up for that. You give them money, you can pay them. That's nothing but compensation. You can never repay your teacher. So that's first and foremost. Humble yourself. Empty your cup. Take the classes serious. Be loyal to your teacher. Not, oh, he made a mistake, so I'm not going to listen to him no more. Oh, he was warned from, so I'm not going to listen to him no more. And alhamdulillah, I'm not talking about no sisters. I'm talking about many, many brothers. His brothers, and I'm not saying this boasting or bragging. I'm trying to make a point. When I came to Queens, New York, they didn't know anything. This brother had no beard on his face, as we say, a butt face. His pants were in the hellfire. He didn't know nothing about anything. Islam, let alone Salafiyah. He sits with you. You take him under your wing. You show him friendship and brotherhood and kindness and love and respect. You drink tea with him. You travel with the brother and you show him the ropes. This is how you dress. These are the pins you have in your pocket. Cover your head. Take notes. Go to Medina. So on and so forth. Then they go overseas. They meet this person. They come across this brother who's totally unknown. Total majhul. They don't know who he is. Where's the brother even from? And they question you. Abu Ramla, the brother told me that you said this. Is this true? And so on and so forth. And I say, just yesterday you didn't have a beard on your face. And now you're correcting me. Just yesterday you were running around chasing girls. And now you're talking about Salafiyah. And I don't sit with him and I'm not going to go to his masjid because he has issues. What the heck are you talking about? What type of loyalty is that to the one who saved you from this? That's how you behave? And this is disgusting and it's sad. And there are many people who have this characteristic. Many people, whether they're African Americans or Black Americans, and this is the unfortunate truth, most of them are like that. That's the majority. Or whether they're from Guyana or Trinidad or wherever else they come from. What type of loyalty is this? This person taught you, spent his time, answered your questions, gave you everything that he could. And that's how you repay him by putting a steak knife in his back? That shows a lot about your character. That shows a lot about what type of person you are and what type of stock you come from. Because even if there was issues with your teacher and you felt that your teacher made a mistake, he's still your teacher. He's still someone that taught you. And the crazy thing is not to just say, oh, I don't sit with him no more because he strayed from the Sirat al-Mustaqim. But then they deny the fact that you were even their teacher. They'll say, oh, I never studied with brother Muhammad Munir. I never studied with him. He pointed me in the direction of a few books. And when I went to Medina, he happened to be in the room and he helped me take the interview. That's it. La ilaha illallah. This is filthy. And I can mention so many brothers who have done this in the past. So many brothers. And the sad reality is now, is that when brothers come up to me and they ask me for letters of recommendation, I tell them I can't. I can't help you, akhi. I'm sorry. And Allah knows I'm not making this up. Many young brothers that come to me, please write me a letter. I can't help you. I'm sorry. I've been burnt too many times. I've done this too many times. And brothers, they never prove we're not asking for nothing in repayment, but basic decency, basic dignity, basic respect. This is a simple lesson to have with your teacher and to be loyal. And the more respectful you are, the humbler you are, the more consistent you are, the more your teacher is going to give you. And the more he's going to pour into your cup, because he trusts you and there's a bond and there's a relationship that's supposed to be sacred. So these are very important concepts with regards to taking a class serious. As far as you just listen to lectures, that's one thing. But you're talking about an actual dojo, a class, in which the teacher calls you by your name. He calls out to you, read this, memorize this. That's something that's you can build upon in the future. And the worst things and the ugliest things to do is to have someone that gives you this time and this care and this affection, and then you betray him for a foreigner or for an outsider. And that person doesn't have nothing to offer you. Knowledge, credentials, they can't give you no consistent class. They're not going to do 60 classes with you on the phone. They're not going to check your homework assignments and give you papers and essays. They don't care about you. They're going to give you some lecture, blah, 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 and then who can marry me? Who can be my second and third wife? That's it. So these are a few things from among many. And Allah knows best. Next question says, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. If a woman gets remarried, does her ex-husband automatically take custody of their children together? The woman teaches her children, tries to be a good example for them. Bi'idhnillah. Ma'yu, the woman asks for khula because of his lack of religiousness, hasty decisions, and lack of time. She's scared because if he took her children, he would be very spiteful because he wants her back. And also the children will be raised by whoever he decides to marry, not him. Barakallahu fikum, jazakallahu kullu khair. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Please go back to our khutbah that we did a few months back called The Books of War. And we also did, I believe, 2 videos called the rulings of child custody in Islam, in which we spoke on this issue with some type of detail and some type of depth. There is no one specific ruling. Sometimes the kids go with the father if the one remarries. Sometimes they stay with the mother. It depends. And this is one of the many problems that we have in the United States, is that our custody battles, our war, is going to be the civil court. There's going to be domestic issues in front of this court, this taghut, this one calling and ruling with other than Allah Azza wa Jal Sharia, and they decide. You get to see them on the weekend, you pay this amount of money, so on and so forth, and that's it. Next. Many things may be in accordance to the deen, some things are totally in contradiction to the deen. This is not Saudi Arabia, once more. It isn't overseas. So the Muslims can't agree. There's spite, there's jealousy, there's envy. All right, there's feelings, emotions, and hurt and lust and all of these different things. And the children are used as the bulletproof vests. They're used as the dummies to take the wild bullets. Books of war, it's warfare. I'm going to spite him through my son. I'm going to spite her through my daughter. I know she needs this. I'm not going to give it to her. It's sad, but it is a reality. It is a reality. So therefore, oftentimes you may have an Islamic ruling, but there's no one to enforce the ruling. And the brother, he says, look, I don't care what Fulan said. Bleep, 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 dot, dot, dot. He don't pay my bills. He ain't nothing to me. Rather, he's a deviant. He ain't Salafi. He can't tell me nothing. I'm taking my kids. Or vice versa. What are you going to do? What can you do? What can you do? This is from the trials and the tribulations of America. The trials and tribulations of living in a place in which there isn't a Sharia enforced. Allahul Musta'an. So fear Allah to the best of your ability. Sometimes the child goes with the father. Sometimes the child remains with the mother. Sometimes the child goes to the grandmother. It depends on the situation, as we explained in those lessons. And Allah knows best. Question 23. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah bless you and increase you in beneficial knowledge. What is the best way for someone to master or become efficient in speaking the Arabic language? When one builds off the basics speaking, how can they continue to up the proficiency and fluency? Jazakallahu khairan. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah bless you as well. We've done too many videos on this, and we've discussed this, practical and also theoretically, how to master Arabic, what to do, what books to study, conversation, etc. What's important is empty your cup. Call out to Allah, cry to Allah, and tell Allah that you're poor and that you need Him to enrich you. Like Musa alayhi salatu wasalam said, that you need what Allah can send down to you to enrich you. Start from the beginning. Find a good teacher. Be consistent. Humble yourself to that teacher. Devote yourself. Make sure that he instructs you or she instructs you in the proper material. Be focused. Be consistent. Write the homework. Practice. Spend hours out of your day. Conversate. Learn Arabic like a small young Arab child. Learn the basics, the ABCs, the nursery songs, etc. And then build your way up. Avoid complexities. Avoid grammar. Avoid the difficult stuff. Start from the basics. Have a good pronunciation. Fix your tongue. Most of the students, men and women, they can't pronounce things properly. They worry about the grammar and ajurumiyya before they even get to the basics of phonetics. And it takes years. It doesn't happen overnight. Allah knows best. Question number 24. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mufti, may Allah reward you and your family for your efforts. I mean, for 3 days now, I've been getting like brownish discharge, not in abundance, just here and there, no pad needed. But no blood follows it, nor do I have any cramps. And it does not smell of blood. Am I on my period or not? Jazakallahu khairan. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The general rule is, I would say no. If there's no blood, it's just discharge. It isn't accompanied by cramps or some type of mood swing or emotional imbalance or back pains or whatever the case may be. The general rule is that if it's not blood, it's not blood. If it's not accompanied by any signs, then it isn't blood. That's the general rule. However, you have to look, do you have a stable, normal timetable for your menstruation? Do you have a stable, normal timetable for your menstruation? Or is your menstruation always off balance? Is it always off balance? Is it always not in accordance with a normal time? So these things are going to help you determine whether it is or whether it isn't. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. Question 25. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sheikh, may Allah protect you and your family. Ameen. Lately, I found myself with low iman. Even though I try to increase my ibadah, but I find that it doesn't penetrate my heart. I fear for myself. Please advise me. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Congratulations. You should be happy that you feel this way. Only a body that's living feels pain and experiences pain. Only someone with a nervous system actually feels a pinch, let alone a cut. So the fact that you feel pain, the fact that you feel that you're down, that your iman is not where it's supposed to be, that's a good sign. That's not everything. That isn't the entire battle, but that's a good sign. So therefore, what makes you feel down and out? What makes you feel blue? Literally like the color blue. What makes you feel that way? When you're by yourself, don't be by yourself. Because you're not married, you need to get married. Because you can't read the Quran and understand it, you got to learn. You have to figure out the cause of the problem. Keep good company. Stay in the company of the righteous. Feed your soul through the beneficial literature. Go to the masjid. Wahakada. Do certain things. Exercise certain foods that you eat. All of these things have an effect on you. Thinking about the past, the traumatic issue. Someone raped me when I was younger, or molested me, or they beat me up. Okay, get the necessary therapy, whether it be Islamic or other than that. And don't dwell on it. Don't think about it. It's done. It was qadr. Allah decreed it to happen. You must let go of the pain. You have to let go. You got to move forward. If not, it's going to keep haunting you. So you got to figure out what's causing you to feel that way. And then take the necessary approach to combating it. Take the necessary approach to combating it. Everyone has ups and everyone has downs. And their flaws and their mistakes and their problems. But you got to figure out what's causing you to feel this way. And don't allow it to fester. Don't allow yourself to just be in a rut and wallow in it. Get out of it. Go out. Be around the righteous people. Call people. Get help. There are many lectures that we've done on the increase and the decrease of Iman on the channel. Let alone anything which is from the beneficial knowledge will help you. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. Question 26. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Or assalamu alaikum Shaykh Mufti. May Allah reward you, but I mean, is it true that the devil stay in corners? Is it a bad place for your children on time out in the corner? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I don't know about that. I've never heard that. The devils are in the corners. Maybe I can research this and look into this. I've never heard anything about that. Allahu alam. Inshallah, we can look into it. Maybe there's something, hadith, I don't know about that. Allahu alam. Question 27. Also, is it okay to place dirty laundry in piles? I heard the jinn will gather by them. The question is not whether it's permissible or not. But the question is, what are you going to do with your laundry? If they do gather in the laundry, what are you going to do? What do you want to do? You have a dirty shirt, some socks, some pants. Where are you going to put them? Every time you wear something, you put it in a wash machine, you wash it out. What are you going to do? What can you do? The jinn hide in the toilet. You can't keep the toilet seat up. You have to close the toilet lid because the jinn come out of the toilet. Okay, what are you going to do? Don't use the bathroom? What can you do? So if this is authentically proven, then that's one thing. And if it's just something that's cultural or something that is, some people say it may be true. Because everything that we have about the jinn and information of the jinn isn't in the hadith. There are many things that are proven through experience, through history. Fear Allah to the best of your ability. Try to minimize your dirty clothes. Wash them when you can. Fear Allah the best way you know how. And Allah knows best. The general rule is that the shayateen, they love dirt. And they love dirty things in general. Specifically, spiritual dirt. It is well known that whenever someone wishes to become a sorcerer, waliyadu billah, and go into the wicked world of sorcery, or quote-unquote black magic, it's well known that the shayateen oftentimes get them to do certain dirty and filthy things. Defilement, the blood of menstruation, a well-known social, cultural reference. They say never eat this food from this woman. Never eat spaghetti from a woman that you don't know. Never eat from a woman when she's on her menstruation. Never do these things. They said he put blood in it. Allahu alam. Witch's brew, that's what they call it. It's well known. When someone wishes to become a sahir, they say write Ayatul Kursi 100 times with urine. Waliyadhu billah. Do wicked, nasty things like this with dirt. Allah knows best. Question 28 says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah bless you in both worlds, Ameen. How does one advise someone that is constantly busying themselves with refutations of you, Shaykh Mufti? Meaning they're always the first to share Fulan or Fulana's speech and get very emotional whenever you are refuted. How do we advise them and get them to stop wasting their time with this and busy themselves with seeking knowledge? Barakallahu fikum. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Ameen. You as well. Like we mentioned before, a student feeling upset when his teacher is refuted, whether it's a good refutation or a bad refutation, whether it's true or not. He said it or he didn't say it. I said it or I didn't say it. Whatever the case is, the concept of someone that you love and care about and that you feel is doing good for you, of course you don't want anyone to harm them and to annoy them. Of course not. That's a good sign. That's a sign of Iman. To love for your brother what you love for yourself and hate for your brother what you that's a good thing. That's a sign of loyalty. I don't want no one talking about my teacher. No one saying anything ill about my teacher. That's a good thing. But like all good things, there's a time and a place, and there are levels and limits. Jealousy is a good thing. Anger is a good thing. Courage is a good thing. Being blunt sometimes is a good thing. Being a good dresser, being nice and neat and clean is a good thing. And hygienic is a good thing. But too much of it is a bad thing, in which you're too soft, you're too gentle, you get angry too quick, you lose your temper, you explode too fast. Well, how can that? You're too jealous. You start accusing your wife of sleeping around and she's not, because you have so much jealousy and this insecurity. You get too upset when someone says something about your teacher. You keep getting upset, you keep getting mad, you keep jumping down their throats. There's a limit to it. There's a limit to it. There's a limit to it. So therefore, if I said something or did something, and I've answered it myself and clarified it myself, then play it. Khalas, it's done. Share the link with somebody. This is what he said. If you like it, alhamdulillah. If you don't, the proof is established. And if it's something that I didn't do or I didn't or I chose not to speak about, just say he'll deal with it when he sees fit. He's my teacher. He knows more than me. He has more experience than me. He'll deal with it when he sees fit. Whether he responds to this brother or that brother or Abu Fulan and this one, if he feels even the person is worthy of a response. And if not, then he'll do it whenever Allah guides him to do it. Class, that's it. This is my teacher. I'm sticking with him. I believe him to be a Muslim upon Quran and Sunnah, trying to implement and practice. He studied. He has credentials. Khalas, that's it. Jazakallah khairan. All the other stuff, the rah-rah, you can keep that moving, because it never ever stops. It never ever stops. There's sheikhs and scholars that they're talking about now. Last year, the year before last, they were using against people. What is your opinion about this sheikh? What do you say about him? Now they call him ignorant. They call him this. He has no proof. He has no grain of proof with him. It never ever stops. These people, they don't have respect for scholars. And the hypocritical thing is, they claim other people don't have respect for scholars. You don't have no respect for scholars. As we said before, if we went through your archives or your website, how many articles you took down, how many scholars you disrespected and defamed and called them all types of ugly names because they differ with this sheikh or that sheikh. You have no respect. So the Arabs, they say that she ramatni bida'iha. This woman accused me of her disease. They have a famous cliche. Or it's like a camel, a mangy camel that's itching and scratching and biting, and it looks at the clean camel and says, you have them too. What is this? So you don't busy yourself with these people. It's quick, it's easy, and it's simple. You're trying to make someone trying to be this big, great, grand shaitan deviant because of this statement and that statement. I'm not with that. That's not my way. This is what I know about the brother. This is what I've studied with him. These are the books that he's teaching us, and I'm sticking with that. And we all stand in front of Allah until Yawm al-Qiyamah, or on Yawm al-Qiyamah. If it's something that's clear from Quran and Sunnah that this person is astray, then that's a different story. But the question is, guys, would we be even fighting and differing if things were so clear and simple? Would there even be any difference of opinion if it was crystal clear? If it was the Quran and Sunnah we were debating on, would there even be any difference of opinion? So be mindful of these things. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your life, okay? Defending your teacher is nothing wrong with that. Being upset is nothing wrong with that, but it has a limit. There has a level. Don't go too far. Don't be extreme. Be just. Accept the truth. And the truth, alhamdulillah, is clear. It's clear, depending on your level of understanding. All right? So that's the advice that I would give. Don't busy yourself, because the moment you stay busy with things like this, it helps them as well, and it supports them. But the last thing I want to say is, this does not mean, it does not mean that you don't defend yourself or point out their mistakes and refute them from time to time. As many other brothers and sisters, they get extremely oversensitive. And they say, oh, Mufti, why are you making that video? You should leave them alone. Don't respond to them, akhi. Ya akhi, if I have 100 videos that I'm doing and only one is about one thing, what's the problem? What's the issue? How many people benefit from certain clarifications and certain videos or things that you may call refutations? Many people to learn from them. And they have the courage to stand up to these bullies and put them in their place and give them the necessary bloody noses that they need. They need bloody noses. Because a bully is used to getting his way and just picking on people. But the moment you punch him in the nose in the lunchroom, it's a whole different story. He may beat you up again. He may throw you on the table again, take your lunch money again. But he's going to think twice the next time. And the third time you punch him and he blacks your eyes, but you keep hitting him, he's going to think twice. And he's going to say, I want to move on because it's no longer easy and sweet prey anymore. I'm going to pick on someone that has no courage to fight back, nothing to stand on. All right? And that's Islam as well. To stand up for your haqq and to refute the batil and to punish those who transgress the boundaries against you. The Quran says, he who transgresses the boundaries against you, transgress the boundaries against them. And we have people who oversympathize. Oh, Akhi, you shouldn't have said that. He shouldn't have said that about the brother. Yani, how could he say that? Oh, stuck for the law. All boo-hooing. But when a brother said this about me, slandered me, called me names, disrespected me, attacked me, did you cry over that? Did you have any sense of sympathy over that? That's okay. It's all right. Because he's Salafi and I'm not. And you can do whatever you want to do. It doesn't work like that. So don't cry and boo-hoo, Yahi, when someone gets a bloody nose. And this person's been throwing punches for how many years? Trying to knock off my head. And I finally, humbly take a stance and defend myself. And then it's, oh, well, Yani, you shouldn't involve yourself. Oh, no, you're too harsh. What is this? That's not fair. That's not just. That's not the Quran. That's not the Sunnah. That's not the way the Salaf. That's not life. That's not life. Imagine a big bully crying. He says, he hit me, he punched me. He says to the teacher, the principal, you're a bully. You like picking on people and pushing on people, talking about people. So we're not with that. We're not busying ourselves making every video talking about people. No. But don't get it twisted. Don't think that you can just say whatever you want to say and do whatever you want to do and get away with it every single time. And you shouldn't become upset. Okay? You shouldn't become upset. And Allah knows best. That's all I wanted to say. Whatever I said that's good is from Allah. And whatever I said that's bad is from myself and it's from the shaitan. And Allah and His Messenger are free from it. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala abdihi wa rasulihi nabiyina wa imamina Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.